So, how much does it really cost to live in Paris? Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. And if you're new here, I'm Tiff. I'm an American living in Paris. So I really wanted to make this video because I do feel like more often than not, you hear that Paris is crazy expensive. I do think that if you are a tourist visiting the city, that is probably true. You know, the Airbnbs here are super expensive. The hotels here are super expensive. If you want to do all of the touristy things and go to the fancy restaurants, yes, it's going to be expensive. But I think actually living in the city, it's a little bit different. You know, you do things differently. You buy groceries. And I really just wanted to share some of my insight with all of you who are either looking to move to Paris or want to visit Paris, you know, more so on a budget. So in this video, I wanted to break down the cost of living in Paris. Keep in mind, this is really just coming from my perspective. You know, I don't have a family to provide for, anything like that. And of course, your budget and your cost of living really depends on your situation and your needs. So please take what I say with a grain of salt. This is really just coming from my perspective. All right, so let's start off with housing. So I currently live in the 18th arrondissement. I'm living in a one-bedroom apartment that's 30 square meters, and I pay 1,100 euros a month. And obviously the price of your apartment will depend on the area, the size of the space, you know, so many different factors go into it. But I have heard that the more affordable areas to live in Paris are the 10th, the 11th, the 12th, the 18th, and also some parts of the 9th. Usually areas from the 1st to the 8th, as well as the 15th, the 16th, and the 17th tend to be a bit more expensive, so definitely keep that in mind if you're looking to move here. And then for utilities, I'm paying 50 euros a month for gas and electricity, so that is pretty similar to what I was paying in New York. But for my internet, cable, and my phone bill, so my cell phone bill, I'm only paying 35 euros. And in New York City, you know, I lived with two of my really good friends. We were paying $80 a month for the internet alone. I've definitely seen that things like internet, cell phone bill, and TV are a little bit less expensive than what you would pay in the States. And I also pay for a VPN every month, and that's about 5 euros a month. If you are moving out here from the States, I highly recommend that you get a VPN. For me, I love it because it allows me to still stream all of my favorite shows from like HBO and Xfinity, because a lot of these streaming services are not accessible from France. They're US-based streaming services. So keep that in mind if you are moving out here and still want access to some of your favorite TV shows. And aside from that, I'm also paying 22 euros a month for housing insurance. As an FYI for any of you who are looking to move out here, I was able to get my housing insurance directly through my bank. It was super easy. So altogether, when it comes to housing and utilities, I'm paying 1,200 euros a month. So the next reoccurring monthly expense that I have is transportation. So I do have a monthly Metro pass that's around 75 euros a month. It allows you to take the RER, which connects to the suburbs. It allows you to take the Metro line, the buses, everything. And I don't think that this cost is horrible, especially coming from New York, where I was paying $120 a month for the Metro pass. And of course, you can get a single ticket, which is €1.90, or a weekly pass that's around 20 euros. So just really depends on how often you're taking the Metro, but I always get a monthly pass. So if you do come here and purchase a Navigo pass, please make sure that you follow the rules and put your picture on your Navigo pass and your name, because there are Metro workers that randomly stop people to make sure that the Navigo pass is correct. I actually got stopped one time and my picture, for whatever reason, was not on my Navigo pass, and they fined me 50 euros. So make sure you follow the rules so that you don't get fined. So after housing and transportation, the next biggest part of my budget is food. And if you follow me on Instagram, you know that I love to eat. So it's probably not a surprise that food is a bigger chunk of my budget. All right, so let's start with groceries. So when it comes to grocery shopping, I really do try to just stick between 250 to 300 euros a month. And I do grocery shop a lot differently than how I did in the States. You know, in the States, I would go once a week. You know, I had the supermarket that I went to and could get all of my stuff. Out here, I go to so many different places to shop. Like, I'm telling you, I have to do an entire video on grocery shopping in Paris, but it is just a bit different out here. For example, for fish, I always go to the poissonnerie. I really love going here instead of the supermarkets because I do feel like the fish is a lot more fresh. Usually I'm only buying salmon here, and every time I go I buy like 2 pieces of salmon, which is about 11 euros. And then for my fruits and vegetables, I always hit up the fruits et légumes shops, so the fruit and vegetable shops. And I love coming to these because they are literally just shops full of fruits and veggies, nothing but fruits and veggies. I like coming here instead of the supermarkets because I feel like because they're specializing in this, you know, the quality is probably better. I'm also trying to get more into juicing, so I'm definitely coming to these shops more and more often. And in this clip that I'm showing you, I bought sweet potatoes, carrots, zucchini, red peppers, beets, lemon. I bought so much stuff and the total came to around 15 euros. So not too bad. So I of course still go to the more typical grocery stores if I need more everyday food items or cleaning supplies. So Monoprix is a really big grocery store out here. To me, it's kind of like a glorified Target because you can get food and also buy clothes and things like that. Then there also is Franprix, which is a little bit less expensive but doesn't have as wide of an assortment of products. So those are 2 grocery stores that I typically go to. And I have found that there are certain things that are a lot less expensive here than in the United States. You know, for example, you can get a 6-pack of Evian water bottles, and I'm talking like 1.5 liter water bottles for like 3 euros. When in the States, it would be a lot more expensive than that. And they also do have, you know, organic and healthy food type stores out here as well. One really good one is Bio C'est Bon. Another one is Naturalia. And I typically do go to these stores, but more so if I need like vegan products or organic products or just, you know, healthy food products that I can't really find at Monoprix or Franprix, because these stores are typically a bit more expensive than the other supermarkets. So moving on to restaurants. So again, y'all know food is my weakness. I love going out to eat in Paris and exploring new places. I'm always trying to make it to a brunch or a dinner on the weekends, but I have found a lot of reasonably priced restaurants that are insanely good. Like my boyfriend and I like go out all of the time and together really don't spend more than 50 euros when we go out to eat. You know, keep in mind that we aren't huge drinkers, so we're not always paying for cocktails and things like that. But even out here, like a glass of wine is around 4 euros, so it's really not that bad if you know the places to go. And I will definitely do an entire video on my favorite restaurants in Paris, favorite affordable restaurants in Paris, to give you guys more insight into where to go out to eat. One of my favorite restaurants in Paris is Gumbo Yaya, and honestly, it's such a great restaurant, the best soul food I've had in Paris. Highly recommend, so add that to your restaurant list if you're coming out here. So while we're on this food train, let's talk about food delivery, because just like how I like to go out to eat, I also find myself ordering in from time to time. And the apps out here to order delivery are Uber Eats, so they do have Uber Eats out here. And we also have an app called Deliveroo and an app called Glovo, so they have kind of become my best friends. I definitely order in at least once or twice a week. One of my favorite places to order in from is Love Juice Bar. So I typically do order breakfast from there on the weekends. They have the best smoothie bowls and avocado toast. And I think most of the food there, for the most part, is plant-based as well. So it's so good. But when it comes to food delivery, I'm spending like 30 to 40 euros every week. All right, so enough about food. Now I want to chat about the cost of healthcare in Paris. Because for me, coming from the United States, you know, I thought that the cost of healthcare out here was absolutely amazing. When you're living in Paris, you are required to sign up for the National Social Security System, which does include healthcare benefits. When you sign up, you receive a card called a carte vitale that allows you to opt in to these benefits from the government. So the government actually pays for 70% of your healthcare costs when it comes to doctor's visits or hospital costs. If you want more on top of that, you can either opt into supplementary coverage, or usually through your work, you can get Mutuelle, which also helps with the costs of a lot of things. Like I went to the dentist and didn't have to pay for anything because it was completely covered. And also when it comes to things like prescriptions, they're either a super low cost or you don't have to pay anything at all. And even for doctor's visits, I'm only paying like 20 to 25 euros for a doctor's visit. I do think that the cost of healthcare in France is, again, really, really great coming from the United States. So another monthly, or I guess bi-monthly cost that I have is hair and going to the hair salon. So I do have my hair right now in crochet braids, so this is not my real hair. Sorry guys for anyone that I'm letting down. But I do go to the salon at least once every 2 months. And every time I go for this style, I pay around 50 euros, which is a lot less expensive than what I was paying in the United States. I would typically pay $80 for this hairstyle. And then every other month I am also going to the beauty supply store to get my hair and any products that I need. That typically runs me around 30 euros, which is very similar to what I'd be paying in the States. So altogether for hair, every other month I'm spending around 80 euros. So there you have it guys, what I typically spend a month in Paris, just for you to get a better understanding of the cost of living here. Again, this is just my personal perspective and what I personally spend. Of course, this is gonna vary and differ depending on your situation, if you have to provide for anyone. So many factors go into the cost of living in any city, but again, just wanted to give you my perspective. So that's it from me for today, guys. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you next week.